Hey, Alex here. I want to make a quick video to talk about how 2040-60, our new missions vision, really is a collaborative effort with the local church. To me, I told the elders last year, I told the Global Missions Committee, which is my team of about 18 pastors, veteran missionaries, and leaders, I told them, listen, if you think this is something that Alex is going to do, I don't want to do it. I don't want you to give me a thumbs up and say, okay. I want there to be a leaning in to say, no, as a movement, by the year 2040, we're gonna have 60 teams in the least reached places of the world. So as we launch this over these last months, if you haven't seen the promo video for that, we're gonna have that in the email also, where you can actually watch that. It gives a little bit more nuts and bolts of what the idea is. But really what we feel as a global ministries department, as we've been praying over the past few years, we feel that God is burdening us again in a good way to go to the ends of the earth. Remember our roots. Our roots is I.Q. Spencer in a field seeing the word revival. He didn't see the word credentials. He saw the word revival. And credentials is a part of that process of what we do, but really our inheritance as a movement, it's in our bones, it's in our DNA, is to take the gospel further, to take the gospel where it hasn't been before. And as I start learning more about our missions, heritage, and DNA, the more that I see that the apostles, the mothers, and the fathers of our movement, they took the gospel into the areas where there wasn't a great gospel representation. It's just what we do. And I feel that as a movement, we have discerned what does that look like in 2020. So by all means, 2040-60 is not anything new. It's not a new idea. It's just a new way to express. It's a fresh emphasis on that same ancient call of the Great Commission, which is to go into all the world and make disciples of all the nations. So how does this look like for us to partner? Here's the deal. We've broken this up into 3 different phases to connect with local churches and pastors. The first one is assessment. The second one is adoption. And the third phase is activation. So I'm going to quickly just go through those so you have a better understanding of how we see partnering together in this project called 2040-60. So assessment is all about you getting to understand and know more of the background of the initiative 2040-60, and also for us to get to know you, like where do you have missionaries? Are there certain areas that are on your heart? Elim Gospel Church, the church here on campus, they have 3 things that they do and they focus on. 1 is the Middle East, 2 is East Asia and college students, and 3 is digging fresh wells and water in Uganda, in Africa. So it's like they have kind of boiled down exactly, hey, now we'll still give money to people that are going to Jamaica and other places, but as a church, they've said, this is where we want to go, this is what we want to do. And so the assessment phase is for us just to get to know, hey, are there certain areas of the world that are on your heart? And then we want you to understand the 2040-60, we're actually going to strategic cities that are all around the earth. And so part of the thing and the vision is called the Gateway Cities. That's a strategy that YWAM developed 10 years ago, where they identified 100 gateway cities, pretty much all in the 1040 window, meaning the unreached places of the world. And they say, the missiologists, if you go to those 100 gateway cities, you're surrounded by the remaining 7,000 unreached people groups. How awesome is that? So these are cities like Shanghai, Jerusalem, Bangkok, Hanoi, Vietnam, Kuala Lumpur, all throughout Northern Africa. Like, these cities are big cities where we can go and we want to send teams and send resources and do projects. So the assessment time is a time for, we want to hear your heart. Where do you have missionaries all around the world? Are there certain areas of that you want to pioneer and do together? And then we want you to understand these are the 100 gateway cities and this is our vision. So it's really a dialogue and a networking and connection time for us to get together. The next phase is called adoption. Now, my wife and I are going through adoption right now. It's a beautiful process, but it could be a little bit long, but that's okay, because it's beautiful. Because what we want to do is we engage and we talk through conversation. As you feel, you know what, no, I do want our church to be a part of this 2040-60 initiative. And as we go, no, let's do this together. Then what we actually want to do, those 100 gateway cities, we actually want to give you guys books. YWAM created a book that actually goes through and explains what those cities are, where they're located, what's the percentage population of Christian, what are the greatest needs. We want to send you and your eldership team each one of those books and have you read it and pray through it. And then we actually want to talk with you about, are there 1 or 2 or 3 or even more gateway cities that you guys want to adopt in prayer and adopt in mission? This is really exciting. So it's not just about like, hey, so yeah, you guys send us people that want to go to Shanghai. It's not just that. It's not a very transactional thing. It's a relational process, and it's a beautiful process of you guys saying, hey, we're going to take on, I just talked to a church a couple months ago. They're taking on Shanghai, they're taking on Jerusalem, and they're taking on New Delhi in the 2040-60 mission, which means now I'm going to connect them with ministries and missionaries, and we're going to work together, the missions committee, the lead pastor, myself, to figure out how do we get short-term trips to those areas? How do we get resources? How do we send long-term workers? So the adoption process is a spiritual process of prayer. It's practical reading and understanding. These are the areas of the world where we want to send teams. And then it's you guys saying, hey, these are the cities that we want to adopt. And then the last step is called activation. This is where there's a mutual understanding of, okay, you guys are going to take on these cities and adopt them. We're going to create a prayer guide together that you can give to every single person in your church. We're going to create a vision board together. So when people come into your church, they see this is what we're about in missions. This is one of the big strategic goals that we have with 2040-60. I'm actually working with a few Elim people to actually create a kids curriculum that we'd gift to you if you're a part of this project, that you could actually do once a year to get your entire kids program praying for unreached people. It's going to be crazy. I think 2046, I'm telling you, it's not just a thing I'm asking you to help me with. This is the thing I'm saying, let's do this thing together. Could you imagine sending teams to those 100 cities? And when I say teams, not just short-term teams, the long-term goal, the end goal of this project is that in 20 years, we have long-term teams on the field. These are teams of teachers, teams of revivalists in prayer and worship, church planners. They're doing leadership development, starting Bible schools, starting churches, doing community projects. So this isn't just a one train of mind missionary. I think the teams that we form as churches adopt these different cities, we're going to do short-term trips, we're going to do prayer expeditions, but the end goal is that we actually launch and send teams. So part of the activation process is we want to tool you and equip you in your church in a fresh way to explain 2040-60, to reveal the cities that you're adopting. We want to help you in any sort of way, but also we want there to be kind of like a launch Sunday. So if you want to make that during your missions week this upcoming year, or you just find a time that works, myself, people on the team will come down and we want to help you launch this thing, because we see your entire church being a part of this. We see them adopting and praying and believing and sending funds and starting projects and going on short-term trips. We're believing for an entirely collaborative process with 2040-60. So I wanted to do this short video for you to give a little bit more depth about not just the greater vision of sending teams to the least reached places of the world, but really on a very relational, practical scale, how does this actually look to move forward? So honestly, if you're interested, there's a jot form below. Please just fill out that form and say, hey Alex, I would love to connect with you. I'll set up a time. I'll either come out and visit you, or for COVID safety reasons, if you want to do a Zoom call, if that's going to work best, let's do it. But I would love to connect with you or your missions overseer or your missions team and actually talk about more of these things. So I think the way that we're going to move forward is not just through asking you to send me missionaries or vice versa, it's through doing it together. And 2040-60 is a collaborative, all-inclusive mission. It's not just us doing it, we need to do it together. So thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I'm believing for God to raise up new workers from your church, from your movement, and from your region.